Ooh, good one.
I feel everything.
Ah, that's just part of your programming, buddy. Why don't you take 5 while I do the show? Just upload the research into the teleprompter, okay? Great, kid. So you've probably heard this one before. You've probably heard that it nearly costs double what a penny is worth to actually produce one. According to the latest report from the US Mint, it's currently 1.76 cents to produce a 1-cent coin. It's the same ratio with nickels, and it's been like that for the last 15 years. But that isn't to say this is necessarily bad. After all, unlike what you may have heard, the government isn't a business designed to make money. I mean, they literally make money, but you get what I'm saying. And there are plenty of other things we're already spending an F-ton of our pretend money on. But what makes the penny unique is that most people generally don't seem to need them. By one rough estimate, we throw out $62 million in coins each year. A wide range of countries have already discontinued their 1-cent coin or equivalent, such as Canada, Australia, and actually there's a whole huge list of like 20 of them. Even the US discontinued the half-cent in 1857. And in fact, the US military had stopped using pennies decades ago and were, at least until recently, accepting pogs instead. Like, literally, those pogs. They were playing pogs and no one told us. You remember pogs? We could have been doing pogs this whole time as a nation. So they cost a lot. Nobody wants them. And we could be using sweet, sweet Shrek pogs instead. And this alone is probably enough to get rid of them. But also, pennies are made of zinc. And to be fair, zinc is f***ing everywhere. You probably know somebody who is 100% zinc. However, most studies, including this one from the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry, seem to be very unsure about the risks of overexposure to zinc, specifically in kids. We know that vegetables grown in areas near smelting plants or mines will have way more zinc and other metals in them, and there's a variety of health concerns for anyone exposed to those materials. It's not the worst pollutant in the world, and these health problems seem minor unless you're working directly at one of these plants. But it's another case of why do it then? And there's still an added environmental cost of these factories and distribution of this thing that we just throw away. And it's weirdly hard to figure out what that impact is. This analysis from 2009 found that lead and zinc mining uses about 6.6 to 6.8 gigajoules of energy per ton. Here's an energy consumption report that has withheld most of the vital information, but notes that production takes about 66 million BTU per ton of zinc. And the copper we coat these pennies with takes even more energy, and of course, all of these factories put out a lot of carbon dioxide. Again, all this energy for something that barely impacts our society, save for those machines that squish pennies at science museums and I guess feeding our nation's wishing wells. And, to make it all weirder, when Smithsonian Magazine did an article about the environmental impact of pennies, they attempted to track the process back to the manufacturer. Specifically, this is Jardin Zinc Products, the sole company that creates all the zinc blanks used to make US pennies. According to their now deleted product guide, they got their zinc from a Tennessee mine operated by Nearstar. And yet, when Smithsonian contacted them, Nearstar claimed that Jardin Zinc wasn't a client of theirs. Meanwhile, the people at Jardin declined to comment about any aspect of their production. And to make things ever weirder, they stumbled on this 2014 report from the US Mint that claims their zinc comes from Canada. So, where the f*** are we getting our zinc? And why are we being so hush-hush about it? Is it secretly an alien metal like adamantium? Did zinc kill Kennedy? We also imported a ton of zinc from China, and a lot of articles about this seem to think that's where our pennies come from. But no one really seems to actually know. It's weird and creeps me out. So maybe we shouldn't make pennies anymore before they come alive and kill us in our sleep. You know, like how moon rocks is secretly spiders. Spoilers for Apollo 18, a movie we've definitely referenced more than once for absolutely no good reason, other than we had to. And if you're wondering why, after everything I just said, we still do use pennies, well, it turns out that there's a whole lobbying group fighting to keep pennies in circulation. It's called Americans for Common Sense. Solid pun, wanna f*** that pun. And it regularly puts out press releases about how great the penny is and how we all love the penny, even though we don't. They have fought very hard for very long and spent hundreds of thousands of fake-ass dollars to snuff out any attempts to get rid of the penny. And you can probably already guess where they got their money. Back when Obama was considering the elimination of the penny, a lobbyist representing Americans for Common Sense was pushing back on the idea. That lobbyist, it turns out, was being paid $340,000 by none other than Jarden Zinc Products. Because of course. Jarden continues to lobby hard for the penny, a product that makes them millions of dollars a year. Probably through digital transfers, because it's not like they would actually want pennies, because nobody wants pennies. And so that's it. That's the reason we have pennies. A thing most of us don't need or want. A handful of companies that directly make money from their production have continued a lobbying effort to swoon politicians into keeping their wasteful product. Something we haven't needed in a long time, even before digital transactions. Also, and I really want you all to lean in here, you knew it was coming, you had your bingo cards already. Yeah, money isn't real. We made it up, and we can and should do whatever we want with it. And now, during a national coin shortage and this whole virus thing, perhaps it's a very good time to retire the penny once and for all. And by we, I mean the politicians who have been keeping it alive for so long, even as it begs to die. Hey, thanks for watching that clip. Here's the evergreen end plate to ask you to like and subscribe. It's any day of the year where you are.